Awesome. We are live. Well, thank you guys. Welcome to our live stream. My name is Clayton McLemore. Some of you guys know me. Today, we're going to be going over just some marketing topics within the real estate industry. We're going to go over systems. We're going to go over automations. I own a real estate marketing company, and I work with agents and brokers all over Georgia. We focus on lead generation, but more importantly, we focus on how to convert those leads and focus on the backend system. So thank you guys. We also have an Atlanta Top Agents Facebook group that is going to be in the comments if you guys want to join. We post content like this all the time. We post tips. It's a great way to network with other agents in and around Atlanta. But I'm joined today here by my good friend Leo. He owns a marketing company out of Anaheim, California. He works with real estate agents and mortgage lenders, and his company manages around $200,000 a year in advertising spend. He's a great friend of mine. He knows a lot about the marketing industry, so we're so glad to have him here. So please give a warm welcome to Leo, and I'll let Leo go ahead and introduce himself.
Hey, thank you, Clayton. Yeah, no, it's great to chat with you. I feel like when we talk, like a lot of great, not only insights, but like we push each other to be better, and we do stay on top of the trends that are going out, and we share results, and we help each other out. So it's a great connection and network to have, because sometimes as a marketer we feel so alone, like we're just trying to do our own thing and focus on our clients, that sometimes it's hard for us to get out of our bubble and connect, especially out there. I'm sure a lot of other brokers have worked with marketers, and they all have the best strategy, right? So we want to share what's actually working for us, because strategy is always shifting. The goalpost is always moving, and so it's up to us to basically immerse ourselves in marketing and stay ahead of the curve. But yeah, I actually started marketing about, I'd say probably like 3 years ago, when I was working at my job at In-N-Out Burger, and I was an assistant manager, high performance job, on my feet all day, and everything I've done was always just high performance. And so I set out to kind of learn, because I was getting close to 40. I was like, what else can I do out there that doesn't require my physical body being used 9 hours a day? So that's when I started deciding, what, technology was always my passion. And I realized that marketing, I just kind of gravitated towards it. And I loved like learning about Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, like you name it. I like the tech involved behind it. So I just kind of threw myself in there and just started doing it. I started off with social media management, and realized that there's a lot more to actually just making a social media post, that I wanted to dive deeper into how do I get more leads to my clients, not just posting content and set it and forget it, but I wanted to get my clients results. So I went on this relentless pursuit on figuring that out. And over time, I worked with small business owners. And then I just realized, like, a real estate agent here popped up and a broker here popped up. And all of a sudden I realized, like, to stay ahead of the curve, like I started immersing myself in all these wonderful books that have to do with marketing. And there's a good handful that have to do with mortgage marketing, real estate marketing, that I just immersed myself in. And I just kind of went where people needed help the most. And that was with real estate agents and brokers alike. And so I just honed in and sharpened my sword and learned the craft a little bit more, and learned how to set myself apart. And then that's where I met Clayton, through a Facebook group. And, we had the same ambitions and the same drive to keep learning. And now we're here.
Yeah, instead of flipping burgers, we're killing our eyes looking at a computer for 10 hours a day. What a great transition.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let me ask, I think a great place to start is, we're in 2022 now. I think a lot of real estate agents as well as brokers, they're starting to understand the importance of the online space, the advertising. They're getting a little bit smarter on what they can do. And there's a lot of services out there. There's a lot of people talk about marketing and funnels and systems, and a lot of these scary words that can be thrown around here and there. So when you think of marketing, or you talk to your clients, what or even how do you explain that to them? What in your terms, what's marketing?
Yeah, it's a great question, because marketing to me is just trying to keep things simple, but yield a return or a result. And keeping things simple is, I think of marketing as like a funnel. You have a certain funnel, you have the top of funnel, you have the middle of funnel, and then you have the bottom of funnel. Top of funnel is going to be, how can we get as many eyeballs on this as possible? There's no commitment to buy or sell. There's just how many people can see me out there in the world, and how many faces can I get in front of? How can I expand my sphere of influence? Middle of funnel is, okay, now that I have eyeballs on me, now do they know what I do? Do they know I'm a realtor? Do they know anything about me? And I'm going to start setting up some offers there. What is it that I can do? I'm going to push content to those people, specifically to those audiences. And then there's the bottom of funnel, which is, okay, now I'm ready to make some money off the people that are ready to buy right now. I've engaged with them long enough. They know, like, and trust me. They see results. They know that it's going to be a good relationship, and they're ready to pull the switch right now with either a buy or sell. And then that's where you get the cash, and then it just goes back into the top of funnel. And when you get more cash at the bottom of the funnel, you can inject more cash into expanding your reach and your awareness out there. So that to me is the simplest way to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I also think, off of what you said, I think marketing is, one of the things that I think a lot of people ignore when they're going into their marketing is they think about all the business and sales and the ways that they can promote themselves to get business. But one of the other things that you can do is doing it. It's the value that you also provide to your clients, right? What services do you do? What is the value that you're actually giving to someone that's going to be working with you? And that's another way that you can think about your marketing, is the value that you give in order for someone to actually work with you. I think that's really important. A lot of people are always like, my offer. This is me. And a lot of times it's actually what you bring back to other people. Okay, awesome. Well, there's a lot of different places that we can advertise. Recently we got Facebook, we got Instagram, Google, YouTube, TikTok. There's so many different platforms out there. I know that one of your specialties is social media. You focus mainly on Facebook. You focus mainly on Instagram. And so what in your experience has been some of the biggest reasons that you focus on those, or what's the benefits to your clients by using those platforms versus maybe some of the other ones that they could use?
Yeah, I mean, to me as a marketer, and what I've seen out there is there's a lot of shining objects out there. There's a new method, there's a new something out there that's like, TikTok is a way to get your clients, run ads and get these for cheap. And, and there's always going to be something new. There's always going to be something. But what I look for is what is working and what has worked and where is my audience. Once you know where your audience is at, you kind of know where you're going to gravitate to. And I realize my audience and my clients' audiences are pretty much on Facebook. Facebook has over 2.5 billion users. So the chances of you actually connecting with someone that is your client is on Facebook. And the demographic of Facebook is usually the older generation, the baby boomers, even the older millennials that are out there. My age, 40, I'm kind of in that 80s group where we're not quite, Gen Z and all of this other stuff, but we're out there actively looking for a market. And we're still utilizing Facebook because that's where our families are at, and that's where the connections we're making still. But yeah, the reason why I chose Facebook is because it has the highest probability that my ideal client's going to be on there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think understanding the different platforms, the demographics that you're on, that you have on each of those platforms is, one, really important because you need to make sure the right people are seeing you. Secondly, one of the things I really appreciate, because I do a lot of my advertising on social media as well. One of the things that I think is really important is, with running ads on Facebook and Instagram specifically, is two things. One, Instagram, a lot of people don't know this, but Instagram's owned by Facebook. So, whenever you run an ad on Facebook, it automatically goes out to Instagram if you have your Instagram account connected. So you're hitting two huge platforms. There's a whole separate amount of users on Instagram that are also a younger demographic. So if you want to hit an older demographic and a younger demographic, you connect your Instagram page, and now you have two sources to actually target. So that's number one. The second thing that I really like personally is that you can choose who sees you. So, versus Google, people have to be actively searching. Sometimes your lead costs can be a little bit higher. People can outbid you. You're basically auctioning for keywords. Whereas on Facebook, you can dictate who sees your ad, and they don't have a choice. They don't have to search you up. They don't have to have liked your page in the past. They just have to be in a certain category, whether that's looking at, real estate, or they have a friend that's an agent, they like their page, and they then automatically start going into the types of people that you want to nurture. So that to me is a huge game changer. You can actually choose who sees you. And that also helps with your branding, your awareness, right? If you get more people to see you, you have more people in your cold or top of the funnel, as Leo was saying earlier, which is important. So
it's a great point, because one of the best things you can do on Facebook is you can upload these lists. So say, for example, if you get your Rolodex out, for those of you that know what that is still, or, your information, your sphere of influence, and you have 300, 500 people that you have in your phones, maybe 1,000, you can get that data. If you have a name, phone number, and email, you can give that to Facebook, and you can run ads to those people specifically. And either they're looking for someone, or they can refer you to someone. That's what we call like the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is your sphere of influence that you can run advertising to. Yeah. You already have that audience without even knowing you have that audience. And then what you do is you just target specifically those people, and the odds and likelihood of them having a Facebook account is like 80 to 90% odds that they're going to see your ad, which is just mind-blowing.
Not only that, I've actually done this recently where I had a client. I've started asking my clients to do this a little bit more. Is they have when they send like mailers out to people, or they hit them, they have 1,000 people that they send newsletters to or updates to their actual personal address. They typically have that person's first name, last name. Sometimes they have their phone number and their email as well. And you can take anyone that you've been nurturing for a long time, whether that's in your database, like Leo mentioned, whether that's mailers that you're sending out, whether that's a specific area that you have a billboard in, you can just go ahead, take that audience, put it back into Facebook. And now they're seeing you, like you're layering all your stuff on top of each other. They're seeing your emails when you send them out. They're seeing your newsletters when you send them out. Now they're seeing you on social media, and it just makes it so much more effective. The fact that, if they're looking for a real estate agent 6 months or a year down the line, if you can get, 30, 40, 50 different touch points on that client in all different ways, I mean, how much more likely are they to reach out to you? So that's just being everywhere, having a lot of different layers where you have a chance to connect with people is a huge benefit. So yeah, I think that was a great, you broke that down well. So, so you run ads for buyers and sellers. You also work with mortgage lenders. So what are some of the key things that you think play a role in, maybe lowering your costs per lead, as well as the quality of lead? I mean, I've heard a couple of people in the past few months when I'm on a call or something with a broker, they say, hey, I've ran ads in the past, or I've ran ads on Facebook and the lead quality wasn't that high. So what are some things that you do to help, make sure that the leads are actively either ready to buy or getting ready to buy, or sell a property, or actually get in contact, and some ways that you lower the cost so that, they're not $50 a lead, $100 a lead?
Yeah, it really, honestly, there's a couple things. I'll start off with number one is setting the expectation right off the bat of whatever your campaign is. You have to know what you're going to run into. I don't know if you hear anything in the background, but that's my kids. I don't know. I got a mic that does really good at drowning out all the sound. So hopefully you don't hear the screaming in the background like I hear. But
I don't hear it.
Oh, that's awesome. Blue Yeti mic. It'll drown out all the screaming kids. Just hear it. Like, it sounds like bloody murder back there. But anyways, so when it comes to actually running ads and trying to do it, is first of all, understanding your expectations. If you're going to run seller leads versus buyer leads, knowing the expectation of seller leads are more sought out. There's not as many sellers out there, but there are sellers out there. There's more buyers than sellers. This market is a little bit crazy right now. So you're actually going to get some good buyers in there that are more qualified, good credit score. But what I see, number one, is you have to test. You have to test different images. You have to stay ahead of the curve. You have to really know how to properly test and see what the metrics look like on the back end. So that way, if you're on the right path or something's changed. Now, what I've realized too is images and, branding yourself is basically number one. Number two is having the right verbiage on your ad. Because if a lot of marketers, what I see. So here's the thing. I'll see a mortgage ad, and I'll see a mortgage ad for some lender, and they'll put an ad up and it'll say 2.8% rate. We all know we're not in that rate right now. The rates are like 6.5%, 6%, 5.5%. Unless you're VA, then maybe you're at 4.5%. But honestly, those companies that are running those ads don't have a pulse on the market right now. So I think what kind of sets me apart in the mortgage industry, at least on that, is I have a good pulse on what's going on in the industry because I have built a relationship with the lenders, or the brokers that I work with. So I think that having a pulse on the market is really good at being able to shift, because a lot of times you see cookie cutter ads out there that when you read it, you're just like, that is not this market. So that's really what I think is a big indicator, is being able to be adaptable in this marketing ecosystem to really just understand what's really going on in the world. Because
100%.
Sorry, I got a call, and so my thing went away.
All good.
Okay, but yeah, that's really one of the biggest things, just having a pulse and
yeah, 100%. I agree. I think if you understand when the markets are changing, or you understand. Do you hear an echo on my end, Leo?
What's that?
Do you hear an echo on my end?
No, I don't hear an echo anymore on your end.
Okay. Yeah. So I think just one of the things is, if you understand where the market's headed, you understand where to shift. For example, I've had some of my clients that were really, it was really easy to sell a property over the last couple of months. You could list a property, you could get an offer on it. Within a week, you'd have multiple offers. I had a client had 30 offers on one property. And so you don't really need to focus too much on advertising your seller side, right? You don't have to focus on that because it's going so quick. So a lot of that time is actually built towards nurturing the buyers that are, having more difficulty with, competing with the market right now. If people can do a cash offer and another person can't do a cash offer, well, they're pretty much priced out of the market. And so you can shift what you're doing to actually start nurturing the buyers for when we do come out of that. So we did that with a couple of my clients, and now some of those buyers are actually starting to get ready to buy properties. Right? They've already been educated. They've already had a conversation with the agent. They've been nurtured through all of our other campaigns that we're running, so they're ready to actually. They're prepared for the market that's taking place now. Another thing I think that's really important as well is, with the one thing I've heard definitely from some other people is the quality of the leads are low. And I think a lot of people that were really spoiled, maybe 2-3 years ago with $1 lead costs, $2 lead costs, and just having so many people in the business funnel that someone was going to convert. Whereas now, consumers are also smarter at what they're doing. They understand when they see an ad that if they click on it, they'll probably see another ad, and they start kind of moving away, and they are a little bit more hesitant to do things that maybe they weren't as aware of 2-3 years ago. So one of the things that I focus on is, like Leo mentioned, you have to be very clear on what types of people you want. If you run an ad that says shop homes in this area, or look at this beautiful mansion or $500,000 home in this area, you're gonna have a lot of people click straight out of curiosity. It has nothing to do with them actually being interested in buying a property. Whereas if you say, buy a home in Atlanta over 500K or whatever it is, and then when they click on that, you ask qualifying questions like, hey, are you looking to buy a property, or are you just browsing? What price point are you looking to buy a home in? When are you looking to buy a home? Do you have an agent? Asking these these more difficult questions so that not just anyone can click on the ad and all of a sudden they're a lead, but actually putting some resistance in there so that, they have to take the time to really answer those questions and ask themselves, are they seriously getting ready to buy? And they also know they're going to be contacted, putting that on the end of the page saying, hey, you'll get an email or a text from me, today or tomorrow, whatever it is, so they're prepared for that. That makes a huge impact on the quality of leads that you have, as well as your cost. So that's something that's worked for me. I don't know, Leo, if you've experienced that as well within your own market.
Yeah,
that's what worked for me. Yeah.
Kind of, I like where you're going with that, because you definitely want to qualify people. What I've seen also help lower lead costs, as we're talking about lowering lead costs, is landing pages. Everyone likes to send them to a website. If you're, for example, an EXP realtor or just have like a nice IDX website, you'll send traffic to a website, but maybe you just send them to the homepage of your website. Like if you're marketing, say for instance, like you said, like interested in buying or looking in the market for a 500K house, or whatever the search criteria you put in the ad, don't just send them to a home page on your website. You can actually create that home search. For example, you go onto your IDX site and you search up, single family homes, for 500,000 in
this area.
In this area, you do a search on your IDX. It populates a search. Maybe there's 100 and something homes. You copy that URL link and you put that either. Now, the best thing, kind of going backwards a little bit, is running a lead form, a Facebook lead form. So when you run that Facebook lead form, you're collecting the lead, and in exchange for that information, you're going to provide them with that search result.
Yeah, and and that's one of the things that gives value, because you're already doing the search for them. You've already pulled up all the criteria. Your ad is specific on that criteria. So anyone clicking, they're looking for a home at this price. They're looking for a home in this area. I've even seen some ads say, homes at this price in this area with a pool, or with a nice deck, or with a big yard, or anything like that. And you're already pulling those features up for them to take a look at, so they don't have to do any of the searching. So now when they're going clicking on it, most people have automations on their IDX website for if someone views a property, then it sends an email right out to that lead saying, hey, John, saw you're looking at this property. Do you want to set up a time to view it, or do you have any questions about it? And that way you're providing value. You're not just running them to a homepage for them to now go and take 3 minutes to figure out how to use your website, how to find properties, how to put in the search criteria. You're already doing that for them. So that's one of the best. I totally agree with what you just said. I think that segment's great into the next question of, when you actually get into the back end of some of your clients' ad accounts. I know I do this when I get into this. Sometimes I see some interesting things. But what are some of the things that you see them doing wrong the most? Like, what are some things you look at their ads and you're like, oof, this is one of the reasons their lead cost is so high, or one of the reasons is they're not getting anybody to fill out the form. What are some of those things that you see?
So I think I'll simplify it in three key areas where I see, if I go into someone's ad account and I see what they're running, is these three things. And Facebook, you'll get that random email from Facebook saying, hey, you want to improve your lead results? Speak with a live marketing person now.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, because they're going to tell you this problem is their one solution to fix it all. Increase your ad budget. No, don't increase your ad budget. So the one thing you want to make sure you do is you want to use your own photos, whether it's a professional photo, whether it's, an iPhone photo. You want to don't use stock photos. Don't use that same Adobe stock photo of that blue house, that everyone uses.
Stop using the stock photo that everybody uses, guys. It's so saturated. It's a stock photo. It's not your own content, and people can tell when it's not your own content. Yeah, 100%.
Yes. Use your own content photos, whether it's you shaking hands with the current client that you closed the deal on, whether it's you. Show your face. Don't show a profile image in a circle on the bottom left side with your arms like this. Like, show a real human experience going on. Those do so much better for advertising. So use your own images. That's number one. Number two is have the right campaign objective in mind when you run an ad. So many times, like, this is probably the number one ad I see, is a messenger ad with no automation in there. It's just a messenger ad to get someone in their inbox, and they run a messenger ad. That's it. And so many times I see messenger ads with the wrong objective in mind. So definitely don't do that. And then go ahead.
I want to break in on that further, because some people might not understand why. Because if let's say I'm an agent or a broker, I'm getting to run an ad for a listing or an open house. and I set my campaign objective as messages, why are some of the reasons I shouldn't do that one versus maybe like another objective like conversions or lead forms, or like why would you say that messages is the bad one? Some people
because whatever you ask for, Facebook will deliver that. It's if you ask for Messenger, they're just going to give you leads that people click on Messenger. They're not really going to have the right lead that's actually going to be willing to provide you information, or it's not going to be, the intent isn't there on what you're trying to run. So if you run Messenger ads, you're just going to get people that are just like to, open up messages and start, tire kicker conversations.
Yeah, 100%. All right, you can go into your third one. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. You're good. And then the third one is there's no automation on the back end of anything. Like they'll capture a lead, if they manage to get the lead running ads, and they'll put them into their CRM, their database, or whatever it is. They'll put them in a lead form, but then that's where it stops right there. There's nothing to interact. I like to call it, speed to lead, where you need to have the speed to pick up the phone and call the lead right away, or at least have some type of interaction with the lead, whether it's an email, text, and a phone call. And with a phone call, you shouldn't just call once and call it a day. You should call 2 times on one number. And then if you have another number, call a third time. And really try to do your best to get a hold of that lead, because that lead is what you paid for. And if you're just going to call once and call it a day, then you don't have that salesmanship urgency to really close a deal. Like your leads are your leads. So I'd say on the back end, it's just a follow-up and nurture process of getting the lead into your system and have some type of system set up.
Yeah, and you don't even have to. I mean, speed to lead is important. There's so many systems out there now that can take over, what you would do in your day-to-day. I mean, there's so many different softwares out there. I know Agent Legends one, Follow Up Boss has its own built-in, KV Core has its own built-in, and you can actually set up your own automations to do things like send them an email for you, or you can even actually send them a voicemail, right? Agent Legend and Follow Up Boss, I believe, it doesn't call them. Go high level. It just straight up sends them a voicemail into their inbox, and you can customize it based on the funnel that you set up, which is awesome. And then you can add, you don't have to always call them 3 times in one day. You can call them once. You can call them once again tomorrow at a different time, just to make sure. Because, like Leo said, you have to have that mentality that that's my lead. They signed up for some reason, right? Even if they're not maybe the perfect client, or if they're not ready to buy or sell right now, you never know, first of all, the relationship that you make with someone, how that impacts what their experience is with you in the future, if they will buy and sell with you, or someone that they might know who they could refer to you, right? So it's so important. It's still a conversation. I see so many times where someone says, oh, the lead's not good quality, and that's it, right? They are still a human being. They still I can guarantee you, out of 10 of the leads, one person knows someone that's getting ready to buy or sell a property. And so, the relationship that you build with all the leads is really important. It's super important.
And that brings kind of like another fact in there is a lot of the Facebook leads, they're not on Facebook with the intent to go sell a home or buy a home. They're actually months away from actually completing that process. Usually a lot of the leads you're getting are within the 6 to 8 month range of being ready to close it on their home, and when you go with Google, like the reason why costs are more expensive, it's more of an auction, it's harder to, really get those clicks going, is because Google's intent, like those are people that are ready to act now, or at least, a few months away from putting in an app for getting a pre-approval or looking at homes. Those are higher intent based. And then Facebook's more of like, you're getting them early on. So it takes more nurturing on your part to warm them up, to get to know, like, and trust you, and to establish that relationship. And I think the biggest thing that I see from agents in general is the instant gratification they want to get out of a lead, and they don't want to like do the nurturing stuff. And that can kind of hurt you in the long run if you don't have systems in place. And once again, I'm a strong believer, if you run a business, you have to have systems in place. A business is systems. A business isn't you being the hotshot, and I used to think that way as an associate when I used to work for In-N-Out Burger. I was the best associate. I was, I could cook the fastest, make the best food. But when it turned into, when I went into management, is I learned the systems that made In-N-Out Burger In-N-Out Burger. And I wasn't anymore the best person at doing the task. I was the best person to implement systems so that other people can train and make a bigger business out of it. So a lot of the systems that business owners just don't think about is, man, I have to do this all myself. I have to do my own, messaging. I have to do all this. No, you set up systems to implement that for you. So I think that's the biggest thing that the successful agents understand, and the ones that are up and coming, sometimes you have to trial and error and learn that until you realize, like, oh my gosh, like I'm guilty of it too. Like I'm guilty of doing everything myself. Once I realized that businesses was a system, that's when I hired a VA. I set up systems for them to do, and it's just freed me up for my time to focus on the more important things, which is building revenue, all that stuff that goes into running a business.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I think this is one of the last questions that we'll go through, and then we had some questions from some of you guys. So
awesome.
We'll be asking some of those. So there's a lot of companies, Leo. How many marketing companies are there in real estate? There are so many. They run ads, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you that you're an agent or broker and you're watching. I'm sure you guys also get 15, 20 emails a week, maybe even per day, about another service or company that you can use. And so I want to ask you, if you were an agent or a broker, what advice would you give yourself if you were getting ready to look for a marketer?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because as a matter of fact, like I'm working to get my license, so this is going to apply to me as well. Not me looking for another agency, but like it's going to really shine the light in on myself to be like, okay, if I actually had marketing dollars, what am I going to do with it? Yeah. And so to kind of answer that, it's making sure that I have a 6-month plan in place to be consistent, minimum at least. So what that means is, like, I'm going to set money aside to really be consistent and not try something for 30 days. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like I know consistency outperforms, like a rush of anything. So when it comes to marketing, you have to look at it as a long game. You have to plant the seeds early, because I know that sales is a 90-day cycle. The seeds you plant today aren't going to be ready to pick in 90 days until 90 days. Yeah. So that's how I see it, is everything has ebbs and flows. There's seasons for everything. There's a season to water and nurture, and there's a season to harvest. So for me, I would look as, what can I do to constantly be seeding throughout the year at a consistent rate? So that way, whether it's 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, that I'm ready to harvest throughout the year. And that's really one of the things that I'm looking forward to, is what can I do today that's going to, my 6-month self is going to thank me for. And that's really the biggest thing that I would look for. And then the next thing is, if I'm looking for someone to run my ads or someone to do this, I want to make sure that they're in my niche. First off, like, I want to make sure that they're getting results to people that are similar to me. I'm not looking for, like for example, when you go to a tax advisor, you give your taxes to someone to do for the year, and it's just some random guy that does your taxes at the end of the year, tells you how much you owe, how much you have to pay them, and it's done. Like, that's kind of what I look for when someone just runs ads for anyone and everyone. Now, what I want to look for is a tax advisor that's going to be able to give me the right strategies to save money throughout the year. What changes do I have to do throughout the year to maximize my tax results, and maybe even not pay any taxes? But what's going to give me the best strategy to benefit me when it comes to my taxes and my businesses, rather than just paying someone to do my taxes? So when I look for a marketer, I'm going to look for someone that has a strategy, that has something that's going to be sustainable long-term, and that's going to put me on the right path to benefit my business. And that's how I would look at it.
That's a great point. I think, one of the things that you said earlier, I'm trying to remember correctly, I might have just lost my train of thought. Is like, if you're an agent or broker and the 6-month thing is important. The reason why it's important is because I see so many people that they try something really hard for 30 days. And if it doesn't work, they stop and they wait a month or two and they start another thing for 30 days. And then if that doesn't work, they stop, they wait, and so forth. And so what happens is
like dieting.
You now try 5 or 6 different things that ended up costing you the same or even more amount of time and money just to try different things versus sticking to one thing for a set amount of time and being consistent with it. Because a lot of things in life and in marketing, they snowball, right? As he was mentioning, a lot of the leads are looking, 4 to 6 months down the line or even longer. And when you start running your ads in the beginning and you plant those seeds, once we go past that, 90-day mark, 120-day mark, a lot of those leads do start converting. And you've already now built up an audiences on your Facebook page. You have people that have seen you. You now have a lot of leads that that you're nurturing. That starts to snowball so much more because now your ads are based off of people that are converting. Not only that, but you have now that when someone actually closes a deal, right, you can take the content from them and retarget it towards the people that signed up in the first 3 months. You can then increase your ad budget if you have some more money because we've already built up and established our ad account. So now our lead cost is lower, our quality of leads is higher, and you're putting more of a budget into it. So it just starts to snowball versus doing this 30 days stopping, doing this 30 days stopping. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I guess now is the time. We will go ahead and go into some of the questions that you guys submitted. Some of you guys messaged me privately with some questions that you wanted us to cover during this call. So I just want to go ahead and read off. We have 3 or 4 questions. So first, Leo, the first question is, I ran Facebook ads to my website for a few months, and I did not see the best results with my ads. I worked with 2 different companies, and I was curious, what are some of the things that you do differently than other companies out there?
It's a great question because a lot of people do run. First of all, is it the right campaign? You'd have to do an audit on see what they're doing, but my assumption is maybe they're running website traffic, which is just going to drive clickers over to your website with no action or intent behind it. So you want to make sure you have conversion set up, and you do that by adding some code. Pretty easy to do. That's something we set up with all our clients, is making sure we have the right proper tracking. I call it the proper infrastructure set up for your website. That way we can track it and we can run the right ads. The next thing is, after that, it's what campaign or what are you trying to sell? What does your ad copy look like? What kind of stuff are you trying to really push? Are you trying to push buyers? Are you trying to push sellers? Like, what is your objective and how are you wording it? So that's one thing that I would look at is, what is the ad saying? Is it saying like, you have an image of you saying you're the top producer and, you sold a home for 30,000 over asking price, I'm the best, and click on my ad. Like, what is it you're really trying to say and convey? And, does the ad even have congruency? And congruency is basically saying like what the person sees on the ad when they click on it, does it tie into what the landing page says or the website says? Yeah. So if there's any lack of congruency in that shift, then you're basically going to scare someone off and they're going to run in the other way, which we call it a bounce. They're just going to bounce off your website. So those are the 2 things that I would really look at and decipher and see, like, what does your ad say? What does your campaign, mention? And is it congruent to what they're actually going into? That'd be the quick answer to that.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So the next question is, this is a broker. Broker said, I have 5 agents on my team. I want to run ads for myself as well as have my agents run their own ads. What is the best way to go about that?
Well, why don't we have you step in and answer this? I answered the last question. Let's have you answer this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too.
Yeah. So there's a couple different things that you can do. I've talked to a couple brokers about this in the past. And there's different, incentives that I personally offer. If you are a broker and you have, people on your team or people that are under you that you want to run ads for yourself as well as them, is on the pricing side. The option is I charge a rate that you would get charged depending on our ad spend, depending on how complicated the ads are set up. And then every agent that works with you, you would get like a percentage off, 10% off for each agent that works with me as well. The other option is I work with you and every agent that works with me, you get 20% of their commission. So there's their monthly service fee. So there's an incentive, either way. The best way to actually go about it though is if every person has their own business page or Facebook page. If they're trying to really run it like a business, you as a broker, you have your own personal page and your business page is tied to that. And then your agents also have their own personal page and a business page tied to that. So you can either do separate ad accounts for each one. You can have your own ad account. This client can have their own ad account. This agent can have their own ad account, or you can have one ad account that you manage and run, and all your agents have separate campaigns in your ad account. They just have to have admin access to that account. It's not too difficult. Might have made it sound a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. But the benefit is if you are running it from your ad account and all the agents have their own campaigns in there, you control all that data as well. So if they had their own ad account, you wouldn't have access to their data. And it would take your account longer to learn, and you would have less data available or have access to, versus if you have all the agents in your ad account, you have access to all their data and can help your ads, perform a lot better later down the line. So
yeah, as a broker, you want to try to collect the data as much as possible from all your agents, because it only makes a brokerage that much stronger when you're advertising. Yeah. That's really the main benefit of all of it is, like when it comes to real estate, the biggest way that real estate companies blow up is by obviously selling real estate, right? But people like, oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Like Warren Buffett, he's in real estate investment, and the next form of actually making wealth is collecting data. Like you'll see Warren Buffett not only owns real estate companies, but he also owns furniture companies. He owns anything that has to do with housing, because he has all that data from housing that his companies are able to use that data and then show, basically their home furnishings to all the people that own homes, because he has the data. Yeah. So the next form of real estate is really owning data. And the more data you can own, that's a hot commodity in this market anywhere you go in businesses. That's basically the digital world. So the person that owns, that's why there was a huge, thing about Mark Zuckerberg and everything, years ago about the whole data privacy, because data was just like everywhere. People didn't know that their data was being sold that way. So now, things have tightened up, but it's still highly sought after. So,
yeah. And that's why I always recommend that, if you advertise on Zillow, realtor.com, whatever, they're just pretty much selling you data, right? They're having people that sign up on their website, look at listings, and they just send you over, they send you over leads because that's data. They're just selling you data. And you don't have a lot of control over that. So, versus if you run, like we've been talking about, ads on social media and different platforms like that, when you run your ads, you control the data, you control the branding, you control, the content that they see, the landing page that they are on, the automations that they get when they come into your system. You have access to them inside of an audience. You can retarget them. You can upload them again. Versus if you just get a lead from Zillow, they are now more into Zillow's brand, and you don't have as many options on the back end for that stuff. But yeah, great. Let's see what else we have. Let's see here. I'm a new agent that just started 6 months ago, and a lot of the agents in my brokerage run their own ads. I wanted to know, what are some of the things that I need to have set up in order to get started?
That's honestly kind of the not easiest thing, but it's the most overlooked thing with new agents. Branding yourself doesn't mean like having a professional logo done. It's not about like, having the best graphics and anything. Honestly, just setting up your presence online and focusing on one area to grow on. Like literally just focus on one thing. Don't focus on TikTok, Instagram. Like you're going to spread yourself thin trying to focus on all that. And, I'm guilty of it. Like when I first started my business, I was kind of spread out because, I was learning all the different mechanics of all the social media channels. But when I actually started growing my business was actually when I focused on one channel with one message with one audience. And that's where I really started seeing growth, was when I just put my eggs into like one basket and like went hyper focused on it. And that's where my business started growing. I grow my business mainly off of Facebook. I don't have to run ads. I don't have to run Instagram ads or, TikTok ads I have fun making TikToks, but what I do is I repurpose it on the 4 different, basically social media channels. Like I'm not lazy by default, but I look for the simplest way to do things as possible that generate results.
Yeah. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I spend most of my time on Facebook building out interactions on there, but I have fun with TikToks by making TikToks and I just share it on the 4 different platforms, the same content. So technically I focus mainly on Facebook. That's like my business. And then anything else is like, I just have fun with TikTok and I post it everywhere else.
Yeah. And it's important to know that, if you are trying to get started, having a base to go off of is important, right? Because if you come in and you ask for a marketing company, they're obviously if you're going to pay them, they'll say they can do it. But what's really important to note is before getting started, you need to have some type of base in terms of just starting to grow the page, whether that is posting more consistently, whether that's posting personal content that's actually like the day-to-day life, like a vlog or showing off a listing video, and just being you behind the camera, just showing off what's going on with the business, and have people start really connecting with you, engaging with you. Because one of the best indicators of how ads are going to perform for a company or a client that I have is how well are they doing organically without ads. If their business is not doing well, if they don't have a lot of reviews, if they don't have a lot of people following them, and then all of a sudden they want to run ads, it usually is a lot more difficult to get that going versus a company that has 20 reviews. They've sold 5 properties, and they post every time they have property. They post a video. They do a live video on Mother's Day, on Father's Day, for Christmas. Right? They do all these things that set you apart from a realtor that's just going to post their listings, or even the post from their brokerage, right? How many people do I see on a daily basis that take content from their Keller Williams brokerage or EXP brokerage or Compass or whatever, and all they do is repost it, and they call it a day. Like, that's it for them. You have to go further than that. And if you really want to build a business and you care about making real connections with people, you have to do some of the little things. And once you have that in place and you're able to do that consistently, go for ads, run your ads, because you're in a great position to start boosting what you're already doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think too is when you're just starting off, you have to get comfortable being on camera, challenge yourself, get on camera. So if you get on camera and just post whatever the market trends are going on, whether you have it just listed, you're in escrow, whatever whatever you do in your day-to-day, capture some of that. People want to know what complicated, like, how do you handle challenges? Because if you're just posting all the good stuff in your business and you're not posting the challenges that you have, then people are going to be like, oh, well, you know what? She's a successful real estate agent. She'll be fine without me. If you're posting challenges and what your solution are to those challenges, people are going to be resonate with that. They're going to be like, oh, okay, that's a challenge. Wow, they really did a great job overcoming that. I think they're going to be doing good on getting my challenges. Maybe I have bad credit. Maybe I've been denied multiple offers before. Maybe they have a solution for me because they're really good at solving problems. Yeah. And so when you look at it that way, social media isn't just about showing the glitz and glam. That's more for Instagram. Facebook is more, show up, explain what challenges you have, how you overcame those. Now, don't just say you have a challenge like, oh, my escrow didn't fall through today, but you want to put challenges, but you want to have the resolve to that challenge. I think that does a really good thing. And that kind of goes into another thing is when you do run ads, like we run ads and we have an open loop when we run ads. So when someone reads an ad, usually we're just trying to sell a click on the ad because we open that loop and we want to take them to the next step. So that's what's called an open loop. We don't actually give them a resolve. So maybe you have a challenge and then maybe the next day you post the resolve to that challenge. So yeah. you want to keep your audience coming back for more because that's what creates engagement. So 100%. That's a little tidbit about that. But yeah, like I said, marketing is a whole spectrum. you're not going to get it in one night. That's where, you hire professionals like Clayton and I to really go in and dive into how we can help you generate your business. And you do that by scheduling a call with us, just having a one-on-one, so we can learn about your unique situation, maybe what has or hasn't worked for you, and give you some insights on that. So.
Yeah, great point. Well, we only have one more question, so I'll read that one off and then we'll wrap it up because we've been going about almost 50 minutes, almost an hour here. So the last question is, how many campaigns do I need to run to start generating business from my ads? Do you want me to answer that one?
Yeah, go for it.
Pretty easy one. Yeah, so that's a very kind of vague question, I'd say. The only reason is because one thing I think a lot of people mistake sometimes is that just because you're running one campaign doesn't mean you can't run multiple ads. And what I mean by that is what campaign means when you're running a campaign, it is your objective or what you are trying to get, right? So you have a campaign, you have an ad set, and then you have an ad. So your campaign, what are we trying to do? Whether that's traffic, whether that's page likes, whether that's conversions, lead forms, those are our objectives. Under that is our ad set, which is who we're actually targeting. So are we targeting Atlanta? Are we targeting buyers? Are we targeting sellers? And then under that, we have our ad, which is our visual. What do people see when they look at our ad? So when you have one campaign, you can have multiple ads under that campaign. So what I'd say is typically one campaign runs at about $10 a day. So that's, you can have some strategies require 2 campaigns. And multiple different ads. Some strategies only require 1 campaign. So if you're thinking about running a seller's seller flow or seller funnel, you're probably going to need 2.5 campaigns, that type of budget, $600-$700. And then if you want to add more on that, you're going to have another campaign like brand awareness or a video of what you did for a client or testimonial. Typically you need another campaign, and you can still have multiple ads under that campaign. So I would say it's a good place to start at bare minimum is 1 campaign. And if it is only $300 that you can do per month, do something that is brand building and brand awareness and focus on doing that for a while. And then once you have a little bit more of a budget set aside that's not going to break the bank or something, you can go a little bit more into setting up some other campaigns, other funnels that are a little bit more intensive. So that's the best advice I'd probably give is, depends on the strategy that you're running is usually what dictates the budget that you need. But if you don't have a huge budget, start with building your brand, videos of yourself, stories of clients, being very personable, and that type of stuff usually is what's best if you don't have a huge budget.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that's going to kind of circle back to the beginning when I talked about the top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. The people that are like, a lot of folks like to focus on targeting ads to the people that would normally be in the middle of funnel. They haven't done any brand, awareness, anything running. And so they're just going straight to the middle of funnel. Now the $300, you're going to maybe run a video views ad on, on your newest listing, or say you haven't gotten a listing. It's like, I'm looking at it, if you're a brand new agent, you haven't gotten a listing, what I would do is I would promote a video of me hopping on camera and just talking about the market. What's going on in my local market. Market trends are, X, Y, and Z. And this is how many homes are available in Orange County. And if you're looking to buy or sell, or I'm just going off the top of my head right now, but just bring some awareness to what it is and not have a hard call to action where I can help you buy a home today type of thing. Just like and follow if you want to learn more about what's going on in Orange County. Simple. Yeah. Something about a like and follow. That kind of engagement is what you want to achieve. You don't want to have the hard ask of saying, so if you're looking for a home, call me today, blah, blah, blah. Here's my phone number. That's really not going to yield any results, to be honest.
Yeah.
You want to get people to watch your video and you want them to just like and follow your page. That's the main objective of that brand awareness ad. The next ad is then you go into the middle of funnel, and that's where you have that ask of hey, you're looking to buy and sell, here's homes for $500, you take them to your IDX and all that stuff, or $500K, and you take them to your IDX and you have an audience that you already start building. So first month, maybe you're just focusing on building that brand awareness. Second month, once you see what your audience is looking like, then you build on that and you remarket to those people. And that you do with your audiences. And then your third one is now maybe you have, so your third ad, so your first one's going to be your brand awareness. Your second one's going to be maybe you're trying to offer them to buy a home, or, you know, you're just putting the ask out there. And then your third retargeting ad. So the third ad you would want to run is maybe you're running the client testimonials. You're going to run a video specifically to those people. You're not running that video testimonial to everyone as a cold audience. You're running it to your specific audience.
Yeah.
So,
and one thing to note is lastly is you don't have to run all those campaigns at one time, right?
Exactly.
You can have your brand awareness campaign for the first month. So spend $300 on a brand awareness campaign. The next month you retarget all of those people that watched your video, like at least 50% of the video or liked your page, and retarget them with the middle of funnel, you know, a little bit more curiosity, telling them a little bit more about what you do as your job or how you help people, or even a story, client testimonial. And then the next month you do another $300 or another, you know, portion of your budget. And that goes directly into converting. So conversion ads, lead generation ads, retargeting everyone that watched the video and then clicked on your other ad or watched that video too. So then you're building up multiple layers within that. And that's a way to do it on a budget if you really don't have a huge budget to do it.
And that's another point. When it comes to audiences, this is going to be a quick tidbit. When it comes to audiences, when you do a video view or you do any type of Facebook engagement ad, those audience you can build 365 days previous. You can go for a whole year. Anyone that's interacted with your page on the awareness thing, like just the quickest way. Now, I believe the video views you can do 180 days back, or is it 365? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
I think video views is 180.
Yeah, it's 180 views or 180 days. So you have this big window for brand awareness, and then as you do video views, you can do 180 days. So you're showing videos to people that have, you know, you're building an audience of people that saw your video 180 days ago. And then when it comes to actually lead gen, you can retarget people up to 90 days. So whether that's your lead form that you have, you could retarget your lead forms to people within that 90-day time frame. So you could really start getting specific and hone in on your retargeting strategies by creating these audiences. And you're able to do it based on either a year, 180 days or 90 days.
Yeah. And actually, this is because I know we said last question, but we had someone in the comments actually give us a question. So I want to answer that and make sure that we got them. But you said, do you have any tips as to know if you have a good lead off the ad, or do you have to call everyone multiple times? So what I would just say is typically if you really have a good lead, they'll respond in the first 2 or 3 days. Okay. So what's the best way to say this? Yeah. So if you have a good lead, they'll typically respond within the first 2 to 3 days. And usually you have that set up through automations. One of the reasons I see people not respond is because a lot of the text that I see go out, or the emails that do go out to someone, is really simply just it doesn't have a lot of things customized to them. It's just like, thanks for your inquiry. When's a time that we can talk? Or can I call you later this week? Or everyone's really, really focused on getting someone on the phone, which is, yes, it's obviously important. But I would say is sometimes in that first text, what you actually want to do is you want to mirror what they said when they signed up. So one of the things I do a lot is whenever someone fills out a form or signs up on the website, we actually take their custom user field. So for example, let's say we ask them, hey, are you just looking to buy a home? Are you just browsing? When are you looking to buy? What's your price point? All that stuff. I would then have that automated and send them over a message saying, hey, John, saw that you were looking to buy a property in the next 1 to 3 months. Your budget seems to be $500,000. And you're looking to buy a home, and you don't have an agent or something like that. Is that correct? And just making sure you mirror that back to them. A lot of the times people are a lot more receptive to that. And as soon as you get that okay or yes or yeah, that's correct, thanks for thanks, or whatever, you know that their phone number is right and you know that they're interested. So that's when you typically want to flip the switch and either start asking really questions that are personable, or you want to go ahead and give them a call or see if they're, great. Well, that's awesome. Is there any way I can help you? Blah, 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 just go further into detail there. That's typically when you know that lead is a good quality, is if they're responding to you on those first text or second text, first email, second email. And so that's the best recommendation I can give.
Yeah, that's a great point, because another thing, just to kind of show another perspective, is I actually run a lot of seller evaluation ads, and probably the best resulting response that I get from a lead is when you ask them more questions about themselves. So not just saying like, hey, I just got your inquiry. Like you had mentioned, like, I just got your inquiry. Are you ready to talk right now? Can you give me a good time? Yes, that can work. But what I actually see better results in people replying to is, hey, like, thanks for, or hey, I just got your inquiry, whatever it is that you did. But then going and following up with, I'm going to go off a home valuation is, have you done any recent remodels? Sometimes county records aren't correct. Let me know what you've done to your place that could add value to it. And a lot of times people love to talk about their homes. I have 5 bedrooms, I have a pool outside, I have a shed out back, I have a nice piece of property, and they go off talking about their home. So that's another good result that I've seen, is when you ask them like, hey, can you tell me some unique factors that I won't be able to find when I do a lookup?
Yeah.
And
or
they'll talk about it.
100%. Not only that, but like adding a personal side to it. Like I had one of the agents test this out, where we tried to do some personal things. I had 3 or 4 agents do the same thing, where we were talking about in our text messages, actually, as soon as they submit, saying something like, hey, first name, it's the agent here. Saw that you just submitted this. I'm so sorry. I'm just dropping my daughter off at school, or I'm just grabbing lunch with my wife. I just wanted to ask you real quick, and then ask a question, right? But you put that personal side into it in the middle, where they're like, oh, they're a human. They're not just a real estate agent trying to sell me.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference. I saw like one of our automations had like a 56% response rate on that, which is amazing. Like that's a great response rate. Typically you're seeing, 10 to 15%, 20%. That's typically what happens when I look at someone's back end. So adding stuff like mirroring what they're doing, asking questions about them, their property, really trying to just have a conversation, as well as inputting some personal stuff, can really be the difference between, getting that lead or not getting that lead.
Absolutely. That's a great
All
question.
right. Yeah, that was the last question. So, we've been here for about an hour. So I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. I'm gonna go and let Leo just tell where you guys can reach out to him if you want to have a conversation with him. So I'll let Leo go ahead and where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Facebook. Just Google Facebook my name, Leo Luna. I'll probably be dropping a link down here with my profile. You can hop in my DMs. You can call me 714-227-4745. Text me, call me, email me, Leo at Unique Digital Media. I'm not that far away. You can even reach me anywhere. Facebook, I answer a lot of DMs on Facebook, so feel free to reach me out there.
Awesome. Well, guys, my name's Clayton. Like I said, I have a Facebook group called Atlanta Top Agents. There's a lot of, just started actually pretty recently, but we're looking to have 500-600 members within the next 6 months or so. We post a lot of content like this. Leo, you'll see him in the group. Tips on what you can do, systems that you can use for your business. If you want to reach me, always message me on Facebook. You can email me at clayton@claytonleads.com. Or you can give me a call at 803-761-5044. So thanks guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We look forward to doing some more in the future just like this. So thanks guys, and hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah, thank you. If you have any other questions too, drop them down here and we'll probably go and respond to them in the comments as well. But until then, thank you guys, and I will talk to you later. Thanks, Clayton.
All right, see you. Okay.